man, beast, rocks, and trees, and a look at the Ford Expedition and how it connects all of those things together. My name's Justin Pritchard. That's what we're covering in this video. There are at least two things that Ford sells a lot of: crossover SUVs and pickup trucks. The Ford Expedition sits somewhere between those two. It's built like a truck that's body on frame under the skin, but instead of a bed on the back, there's more passenger compartments and onboard storage volume, so you don't have to tie your things down. And this one's the King Ranch. Upscale styling touches and interior trimmings are used to dial in a taste of the rugged toughness inspired by the landscape around King Ranch itself. That's located in Texas. It's very old, and it's held as a birthplace of American cattle ranching. And back in the late 90s, when King Ranch was using a fleet of Fords as their work trucks of choice, the two companies teamed up in mutual admiration of one another. And with King Ranch's saddle-making operations as some of the inspiration, Ford designers worked to capture some of King Ranch's personality in their King Ranch models. For reference, here's the 2020 F-150 King Ranch I showed you back in the spring. But the Expedition is the 2020 King Ranch that you want if you prefer an SUV instead, even though these two machines are extremely similar under the skin. And look at that handsome face and those dynamic-looking LED lights. We'll be getting to how those perform after dark in a bit. On board, the full King Ranch treatment sees the techie dash and screens and instrumentation surrounded by rich, fragrant hide, miles of stitching, and no shortage of detail work. There's something in the smell of this type of leather and the colors that they've used in here that I found sort of relaxes you even before you get in and settle into your seat. There are 3 rows of those to be exact, easy entry and exit. Second row legroom is hilarious if you're an average-sized adult. Third row seats, not bad, fairly easy to access and totally adult usable if you had to. Open the power tailgate, and down here you can just click any of the motorized seats into whatever position you like. Just a few taps and they're gone. It's family hauler to cargo van in about 10 seconds. So to put it very simply, I can't imagine anyone needing more room than this. If you want a lot of space that's easy to use and configure as needed, you'll like how this is set up. There's no second guessing. Just about any feasible combination of people and things that you want on board is possible with no stress. Do keep your family pooch in mind. Mine found the tailgate too high to jump into comfortably, but once he got used to the power running boards, Ghost was able to walk in and out with no fuss. Expedition moves beautifully over the road. Smooth surfaces pass beneath with nearly hovercraft ride quality, and undulating roads and highways usually fail to unsettle the body, which is suspended over the wheels with trick adaptive dampers that neutralize unwanted body motions. Hit a bump or a dip and it's up, down, done. The gelatinous rebounding you expect in something this big and long is basically neutralized before it happens. So it's soft, and the long wheelbase means it's smooth, and the trick adaptive dampers mean the body tends to smoothly come to rest much more quickly after a bump in the road. I'm going to pop in here and interrupt things just for a moment so I can give you a little more detail on that suspension system, and specifically a look at how it works and how you make a suspension system smart. So we've got the camera down below here, and if you look closely, you'll see this little sensor. And what it does is constantly monitors in real time the position of the suspension of the vehicle. And using inputs from that sensor, as well as your drive mode selector and the current state of the vehicle, the shock absorbers, the dampers, can actually be adjusted in real time to help them do a better job of soaking up the bumps and keeping the body of the vehicle stable. If you look here, you'll actually see some of the extra electronics and hardware on the suspension system that makes that happen. The intention is to keep the body of the vehicle more stable over the wheels more of the time, and to make sure that the Expedition rides more comfortably in more situations. And among other things, that means the highway drive is excellent. Not only do I have a tall, commanding driving position, and not only is it nice and quiet in here even at speed, but the ride comfort is really top-notch. Rougher surfaces can coax out that distinctive jiggle from the frame beneath. Here, the Expedition's pickup truck construction shows itself. The odd jolt or smack gets through the suspension at times, and some surfaces can make it feel like it's really clomping along, but the underside of the Expedition remains quiet under fire, and it feels very tough. All said, it's a smooth operator on the highway and takes a very rough road without feeling like you're going to break something. In my Northern Ontario locale, that is a very big deal. A few other things are a very big deal up this way too, including power, torque, fuel efficiency, and all of that deployed for towing. I won't be showing you any towing in this video, but I will say I think you'll be impressed with this engine's performance both with and without a trailer. It's a 3.5-liter EcoBoost V6 that's twin turbocharged for big low-end torque. You get 375 horsepower and 470 pounds of torque, and that is available much lower on the tachometer than you'll find with a bigger non-turbo V8. You can hear the compressors spooling sometimes, which is pretty awesome, but even better is how all of that low-end grunt works when you barely touch the gas pedal. Just a few revs and a little growl from the other side of the firewall and you're off. You never really have to work this engine hard on your daily commute, meaning you hardly ever hear it. There's a 10-speed transmission that's full of interesting tricks and tech to help make a smoother and more fuel-efficient drive. Press onto the throttle and it's a smooth kick down and a smooth, quiet surge of thrust, gliding you up to speed. If you like the sound of an opened-up V8, this won't get your heart pumping, but there is something to be said for getting so much power from so few revs and with such little noise. Here's something else that's important to me, headlights, and for the nearly $72,000 ask for an Expedition King Ranch like this, I was expecting a little bit better. I'll let the footage do the talking. The low beams left me wishing for a little more reach and brightness, and the high beams, well, same thing. Not much. These are solid lights, and if you're coming here from something 10 years old with halogen bulbs, you'll find this a massive upgrade. But in this pricing universe, if headlights are really important to you, I'd say check out anything from Cadillac, Volvo, Land Rover, or Mercedes that catches your eye for some of the best headlights going. A few touches that help with everyday friendliness round out the package. The side steps make entry and exit easier without eating up ground clearance since they fold out and retract on command. The turning circle feels really small for the size of the vehicle too. You turn that wheel and keep turning and it just keeps on going. Now this isn't going to turn on a dime, but it is much easier to maneuver in tight quarters than it looks. The steering is very light at low speeds too. You're directing this massive tank of a thing with your pinky finger if you like, though at highway speed I did wish for a little more feel of the road. The steering does seem fairly vague here, which means I have to work just a touch harder on the wheel to keep centered in my lane than I like. To sum it up, here's a gentle giant when it comes to driving dynamics and performance, and that smooth and quiet character combined with this distinctive and rugged styling element to the cabin to create a confident and just laid-back drive that I think is really easy to appreciate.